pick option here.
And it is going to be Dutch Myrmidons with that first pick option.
Shocked.
You should do this for a living. You're pretty good.
I should sometimes. It's basically like, hey, listen, when they lost, they picked the same side. Maybe we should give them the other side. It's pretty much just logical.
Pretty good at this.
Being logical? Yeah, sometimes. Apart from like having to cast for you, then I'm...
How is that illogical? That doesn't even make sense.
No, it does make sense.
That was a stretch at best.
It
Come on.
does make sense.
I give you props whenever you get me, but that one, I mean, come on.
You shouldn't be casting is the illogical part about it.
Well,
anyway,
that's fair.
Khepri and Nike have been banned out so far. No real surprises there. I'm expecting Sylvanas potentially the top pick for Dutch Myrmidons here, because Sylvanas has won every game he's been in so far.
2-0. 2-0 so far, though we could see a Freya ban here. You were talking about it before the break, and that's exactly what it's going to be against Arkill, keeping that out of Arkill's hands.
And this allows them to pick up the Sylvanas still if they want to as the first pick, unless there's something else on the table. Maybe the Tara potentially could get through. Obviously, their global presence is one of the reasons why Nike gets banned, because of her passive and the global effect. Same thing with Tara and her ultimate.
Very much so, but Tara not good in the early game, really. Not especially at level 1. Her level 1 is notoriously weak, but that doesn't really matter to Variety's new team. They're going to make sure that's banned away, keeping that out of the hands of Dutch Myrmidons.
I'm expecting Sylvanas then for the Myrmidons here right off the start.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't see a reason not to go for this. What else was really there that was a hot
The Ratatosker was picked early on last time for Dutch Myrmidons, really to keep it out of Variety's hands, I believe. And so if you see Dutch Myrmidons do go for the Sylvanas, I expect a Ratatosker, potentially a Thanatos as well, though Thanatos was really passed up in the first few phases last time. Zeus is another one that's open right now. It is going to be Erlong, also 2-0, to be fair.
Very true.
Zeus open right now, and I really expect Zeus Sylvanas here would be absolutely potent against the rest of Dutch Myrmidons.
Well, to be fair, the control playstyle that Variety's new team seems to have here is Zeros and on controlling gods. Even Poseidon has a lot of burst, but the Whirlpools is giving some stuff. However, you're right, they're going to go with Zeus.
Zeus can play the controlling role, though.
Okay.
I mean, the big slow from Chain Lightning and then the AoE area denial from Lightning Storm are the two real big control things that he has, plus that early push. Very, very strong, and it is going to be Zeus Sylvanas.
And that combination can be very, very strong in the mid lane. Ego has shown it before. Now how strong that combo can be. Obviously, the ultimate from Sylvanas can really set up for a free ultimate for Zeus for those extra ticks that are also vital in confirming the damage with Destiny.
And Trixtank just played this Sylvanas so well last game. The pulls were absolutely on point. And if you could pull someone into that Lightning Storm, into the Chain Lightning bounce off the shield, it's just going to do so much damage. Very surprised to see Dutch Myrmidons really give up those two picks.
But they do get Death Panther back on that Giannis again this time around. Not going to go for the raw pick here. I felt his Giannis was very instrumental in that game here. Very few space and times that were very impactful in that game. And maybe they can find that once more. And with even more global pressure from Ratatosker now, they're setting themselves up nicely so far.
Very true, and a lot of CC potential so far. But in the early to mid stage of the game, Death Panther just wasn't putting out the damage that was really necessary on this Giannis. We saw him go for the boots, the Soul Reaver, the Obsidian Shard, and the Rod of Tahuti very, very quickly, just trying to get that burst damage in. That's where it started to turn around for them. We'll have to see if he can position himself a little bit more aggressively to get that damage off.
Talking about aggression, we saw Arkill picking up Freya 2 games in a row against Ban. So what does he go to? Another magical AD carry, this time Kronos.
Seems good. Yeah, very, very strong right now. We saw Emilito basically pilot energy to win the second world title on this Kronos. He looked absolutely phenomenal on it, and it's just so strong in this meta. With the Celestial Legion helm, with the fact that you're leaving hunters alone for the most part in basically the entire game. You're not even going to the duo lane early on. Plus his level 1 clear is pretty decent. His level 1 fight, not horrible. You can even spec into the stun if you needed.
Soulban next for VNT. That's what I'm predicting here. Because if you can take out you take Kronos, Freya's banned, you take Jingwei, take Sol. What other gods are really there? I mean, we've not really seen many of the other physical hunters.
Sure, but we saw Bars playing Sol earlier and didn't really do that well on it. I mean, he got soloed in lane, so could see it left open, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Ban away that Geb, making sure that they're going to not have that savior potential. That's what the Khepri's there for, to save the people who are going deep into the team fights. Geb can also do that, though, without the ultimate. You know, it's a little bit of a different dynamic, but it's the same sort of archetype of Guardian, keeping that out of the hands of Dutch Myrmidons.
And now Hoek's going to have a decision to make on where he's going to go now, because he's going to have to play something different that he's not played so far. Khepri Sylvanas, the two he's gone to. We'll see how deep his god pool lies here, and I think that's one of the reasons VNT are looking at that Geb.
Yeah, I like that. And tier banned away now, so Thanatos, tier, both real shots at Variety, I think, as well as Cuvo with the Thanatos kind of flex pick option. So Variety's going to have to play a new god that we haven't seen him on The first one that comes to many people's mind is probably going to be Ymir. I mean, Ymir is one of Variety's signature gods. It certainly was before Worlds. We didn't see it at all at Worlds.
True.
But you got a couple players that you can really block off very, very well in the jungle so far. Erlongshen and Ratatoskr both struggle against that ice wall in the jungle.
And then Thor being picked up for VNT here, more than likely for Cuba Fred in the jungle. Has a pretty good matchup against Ratatoskr for all intents and purposes. Can't get knocked up because of Berserker Barrage,
Sure.
so you can see that one coming in. That can be helpful. The wall to try and pin him down on escape routes, it can cause some problems.
It absolutely can, but on the other hand, Ratatoskr can stun him out of the Berserker's Barrage if he's able to time that as well. So a little bit of counterplay available to both sides there. Bacchus and Rom going to round out the draft for Dutch Myrmidons. I really do like this draft.
If you are European, you have to have Bacchus in your god pool as a support player. That is just standard. It's the same with Ymir. You kind of have to have, if you don't have Ymir, you got to have an Ares.
I was going to say, what about Ares?
That's kind of the three in Europe overall. Bacchus, Ymir, Ares have always been in contention for some point, so you've got to have at least two of the three there. So
you got to be there to do some damage is
pretty much
the bottom line.
Even
Which
though,
is weird because Europeans don't even fight that
Europeans
much.
are known for not fighting as often as their North American counterparts, but they win enough world championships to make up for that.
All right, get carried by energy 2 years in a row, and all of a sudden, whatever. Camazot's locked in here for Variety. Love it in the solo lane. Absolutely love it. This man was an absolute monster on this pick at the World Championships, and I expect to see the same level of play from him here.
Now the only difference is here with the lineup from Variety's team here is going to be down to Trixank and Cuvo for dictating the pace this time again. Cuvo's going to be the initiate for the most part. Trix can support that one. It's a little bit better of a front line in terms of initiation, whereas Variety's going to be doing very similar things, but he can't really initiate. He can just 1v1, I guess. It's not like he's going to CC people up. Oh, they're going to catch one.
Mark the Magikarp forced into the dash, but Cuvo got the hammer and Trix got the root. Now a two-man belly flop from Hoex. Cuvo's in a lot of trouble here.
He jukes the unstable Vortex, though, and it's actually, meanwhile, on the backside, Bars is the one taking more than he wasted. Variety's still committing heavily for this. Obviously, Cleave attacks will come into play. Cuvo gets first kill. Trix is in trouble. Unstable Vortex doesn't really find a home again from Panther, and Trixank does fall down now to Hoex.
The double stun, though, coming out of Arkill. They're going to be able to pick up another one. Ratatoskr, now Variety getting very low, waiting on that Vampiric Bats. Could give him some sustain.
Oh, he's still looking for on the backside there. We will see Erlongshen pick up Arkill as one hit. Unstable Vortex hits 3 this time, and he can push on a little bit more. Flop on point onto hit zeros one more time, but he's still tanky enough. This is a Clown Fiesta.
I was just about to say Clown Fiesta. That's exactly what this is. Already 4 kills. Minions just spawned. Big SB not done yet. Variety just able to juke that 72 transformations. He's going to be safe for now, but it's
no, he's not.
No, he's dead.
The double tap is there. The beat down is on. The flop is so good from Hoex to get him away. 30 seconds in, 2-2. And I don't know who's winning.
I guess it's Variety's new team. They got the first blood. I mean, they were able to find it. A lot of relics used there as well. Arkill did go into that time stop looking for the stun. He really made it pay with the 2 stunned there in that engagement.
Actually,
and it is Variety's new team a little bit ahead.
Oh, by far, because look what happened on the left-hand side. Arkill did die in the engagement, did pick up a kill in the engagement, but he got a whole wave of solo farm on the left-hand side already, and most of that is going to get denied for the most part because the next wave coming in, it means that Bars, who went mid, helps out Death Panther to share experience in some of the jungle, did lose a whole wave of experience there.
And that's big, just getting Arkill late towards those later stages of the game, absolutely. And if we take a look at the items right now, you could see that there were a lot of relics used. In fact, every single relic except for Death Panther's Purification got used in that engagement. That's 2 sets of Sanctuaries, a teleport, and the shell from Hoex.
And now with that, he's going to slow the pace down just a little bit at the beginning for the most part, because all teams like, okay, do we win that? Do we lose that? What do we need to do to correct? What buffs are still up?
It's not physically possible to keep up that level of aggression early on. Like, there's just not enough. You just can't do it.
I mean, you say that, but look at the right-hand side. These two will just be fighting away all day in this lane. Obviously, Zashu up against Variety here. Just going to continue to trade, but Cuvo is over here as well to support in the early stages.
Just making sure that Variety is safe in this lane. You just need to give him the opportunity to lifesteal off these creeps with that Devour like you're seeing right there. Actually, the Big SP really able to make a nice play there, knocking Cuvo Fred up, preventing the long-range hammer teleport. Now Cuvo has to back. Cuvo was over there not only to relieve that pressure and make sure that Variety could sustain, but also to secure that blue buff for Variety.
Yeah, he can't now.
That he really needs it, but because of Zashu's play there in lane, it means that Cuvo has to back, which means Variety has no mana.
Real shame that Magikarp has gone to the left-hand side here, though, because if he would have gone to the right-hand side with this, they could have invaded that blue buff and continued to allow the Big SB to continue continue to push on a lead here on the right-hand side. But because he's on the left, it does mean that the pressure's been averted, so VNT can get their own blue.
And you can see Variety already behind. It's Big SB on top of his team as far as net worth goes, where it's Variety on the bottom.
Space and time coming out from Panther. The train is here, but the bad news is Cuvo Fred spotted it and cut him off with the wall too. The wall lasted forever, but Variety's still in trouble here.
He's still dead. He's absolutely still dead, but that play from Cuvo was... That was a crazy play.
He sees through space and time come through and he goes, hang on a sec, let me just walk around this corner because the train is going to get derailed right here for a nice little while. And still Variety couldn't get out.
And that's because Variety just wasn't able to hit level 5, and that's because that blue buff is still standing. That's the big play, and that, again, it revolves around Zashu's being able to 2v1 and pressure Cuvo Fred out of lane.
Another right Harpy's due to spawn very, very soon here. A lot of pressure on them from the Dutch Myrmidons for the time being, as once again they turn their attention back to the blue buff, which is still standing on that right-hand side. Available experience, as level 5 has now been reached for the Magikarp.
And now finally, everyone level 5 outside of Hoek, still waiting on that Intoxicate. Pretty low on mana as well, so I anticipate we'll see him back pretty soon. Trix looking for the pull there. Zero's staying far enough back to make sure he doesn't get flopped on by Hoek, but now everyone has those ultimates available.
Not really had to talk about itemization too much because it's just been all aggression. As we say, that Trix in the mid lane gonna, stable Vortex, thanks to a nice stun coming out from Magikarp. Rama in the sky though.
He's looking for the snipes. There's the Intoxicate, but that's just gonna make it harder for the snipes to hit. It is Cuvo Fred coming crashing down onto Hoek.
He's got no mana. He's not going to flop away here anytime soon, and they actually go the way of Cuvo Fred. But now the big SB is here as well, and in the sky is Mike the Magikarp, and he'll pick up Cuvo.
Oh, we get his pulled under tower right away by Trix, taking a decent amount of damage. Lightning Storm comes down from Zero's. Variety looking to chase down that Ratatosker so low. Jukes the Devour, and then gets the nice heal. Mike, he's out.
Mike is playing up, so what I've seen him do before right now is will get hit by space and time. Variety jumped up as well. He's going to fall down, and the Dutch Myrmidons continue their early game winning streak against VNT.
Wow, I mean, it was like the first 2 games were warm-up games, and now it's just insane plays left and right. Cuvo Fred walling off people off through space and time, and there, the double ult from through space and time right on top of Zashu, making sure that they're able to delete our kill before that rewind goes off. Very, very clean there from Dutch Myrmidons.
Now those graphs you see right now, I mean, for all intents and purposes, this is late game, you wouldn't be talking about them too much, but for 5 minutes in, and a 2k experience lead is very, very big indeed.
And again, that's because of the staggered buff taking over on the right-hand side. You could see its boss has a 2-level lead on Arco right now, despite him getting a kill and an assist in that early engagement. You could see that Zashu, the big SB, has about a level over Variety as well. In the middle lane, you see a level disparity in addition to that. So Death Panther playing very, very well.
Very, very well indeed at the moment. And it's going to be a very interesting one to see exactly how this will go down as well as the game continues right now. Bit of poke pressure between the two over the right-hand side. Variety doing some pretty good work there, but Erlang Shen giving back as good as he gets for the time being. We'll see how this works out.
And again, it's Zashu able to just make plays on this right-hand side, playing that Erlang Shen, taking that buff advantage that he had earlier on.
Okay, guys, it's going to be a quick pause coming up any second right now, and we'll be back in a moment. Looks like a quick pause between the two teams as of how it stands for the moment.
And this is just a great beginning for Dutch Myrmidons. I mean, the team play, again, really being the standout factor for me. It's the communication. Death Panther letting the big SB know, hey, stand right where you are, try and CC him in place as best you can. I've got help coming to you.
Yep.
And just working together very, very well as a team.
It's going to be an awkward situation for him now. We'll just see exactly how these guys can work out, because once again, the Dutch Myrmidons have got off to a fantastic start. 2 times in a row, now the 3rd time where, let's be honest, it was back and forth, and we said the new Variety's new team are the ones that took the lead there.
Sure.
But the fight back again is just so good. They're so good in the early game.
I mean, it's just the team's coordination, again, coming through for the longer tenured team. All the skill in the world is on Variety's new team. I mean, they've been working together not that long, but they have the track record, they have the resumes, and everyone expects them to do very well, like we mentioned, but it's just not quite there yet. And you can see that in those big early game brawls, that's where the communication is key. You've got to have that target caller that you can trust to say, this is the man we need to be hitting right now, and have all 5 targets on them. and it's just so difficult to do that with an early team.
Completely agree. And the one thing that happens with some of these younger teams is the fact that once they hit that mid game, late game, that's where they struggle. The early game is the thing that you play the most overall. You practice it over and over again, and you can get really good. And when you don't play against, the teams don't recognize you and know what you're going to bring, you can surprise them like they're doing right now.
Well, we really need to see Mike the Magikarp spend a lot of time on this right-hand side, making sure.
Oh, and get the kill as well. Right 1-for-1 trade under the tower overall there after the pause as well, as Kivo Fred now forced out on the left-hand side as well, away from looking for a bit of aggression. Death Panther, so far this game, being involved in 6 of the kills out of the 7, and those through space and times have been very, very important.
The only one he misses is right there on the right-hand side, the dive underneath that tier 1 tower. And that's actually worth it for Variety because he's behind. He needs that gold, and getting that kill onto the big SB, even if he dies in the process, is a step towards getting back into the game.
I'm talking about getting back into the game for Variety's new team now. Dutch Myrmidons have to push on this now. They have to try and apply pressure somewhere. And talking about pressure, that dash was fantastic from Get Fisher there, and he's going to re-engage.
He's got the shell Tricks, but it's going to take a lot of damage still. Through space and time, finds the mark, as well as the Intoxicate. Tricks getting so low. One more auto, not going to be able to find it.
And you talked about Zeus, but Robber in the sky, looking for the snipe. One is clean, and Kivo was hanging in the air, looking to reinitiate. Sadly, he's not able to do so, but look at the decision-making coming out from the Dutch Myrmidons there to reinitiate onto Tricks after he missed his ult.
I've loved Boss's rotations into this left side jungle. That's the second time we've seen him make that rotation. Hold that thought, Flot onto Kivo Fred, but it's actually Hoek in a bunch of trouble, taking a lot of damage with a 2-man portal. Gonna buy him a little bit of time. You can see it was actually Mike the Magikarp said, later, bro.
That's the support not recognizing the situation his team is in. You saw that one way to base, his jungler way to base, his mid laner completely out of mana there. They couldn't really look to fight. But going back to that whole fight onto Tricks tank there, as you talked about Zeus earlier on, as we watched his blue buff fight, but Zeus denied the area that bought enough time, at least for a moment.
Very, very close. I love the synergistic play there between Tricks and Zeros. Almost able to get the support out of danger despite the use of 3 or 4 ultimates. It takes 4 to make him fall at the end of the day. But again, Tricks, I mean, you'll see him do it from time to time where he's just out there trying to make a play.
For Variety here, very low on the mana side of things. As once again, the big SB, also known as Zashu, is showing one of the reasons why he was considered a pretty good damn solo laner. He had a lot of potential to be one of the better ones over in Europe until his untimely demise after having a competitive ban for a while.
And I love the decision to poke out Variety right as the speed buff spawns. You can see Hoek coming in here trying to make an impact as well. Tricks tank caught out a little bit, but the 3-man knockup is good.
And he's going to flop straight onto Tricks. However, space and time also hits, but it wasn't a whole lot of damage they would have liked. Kivo taken to the sky after chain lightning was used, but that portal from Death Panther was fantastic to put a little bit more pressure on as Mike wants to hang around, waiting for Kivo to come down, and he's going to find him.
He's going to find him, no purification, but he is able to teleport away, but the problem is Variety is here. Hoek is going to find him. Kivo by himself, though, able to solo him with the support.
And now Variety's by himself, too. Uses Bat out of hell to look for a kill, but also live, but he missed a second hit. Will clean it up, however, with the bats, and now he's going to fall back to his tower. They're thinking about going in, but Tricks is coming round.
Tricks has arrived, but it's only him not able to make play there. Zeros has to use purification and the ultimate.
And that's a clean kill there for the big SB in the mid lane.
That's it. He's been the playmaker overall for Dutch Myrmidons in this series. I mean, he's looked very, very strong throughout all 3 games, basically, and making a real big difference in this one in particular, 3-1 and 5. But surprisingly enough, he's 3rd on his team in net worth, not near the top of the farming. But that says a lot about how well Boss is farming on the left-hand side, as well as Death Panther, who is massive in the middle lane, 2 levels up on top of Zeros right now.
This is a big lead overall for the Dutch Myrmidons, but they need to capitalize on this now, because this is the time, once again, where they start to drift off, they start to lose focus a little bit, and that's where Variety's new team comes back into this. They need to look for gold furies now, I feel. They're starting to win these engagements, the engagements are going well, and this experience in gold can help them to look for the gold.
But the problem is, despite this big lead and the great play that we've seen from Zashu, he doesn't have a big lead level-wise or even gold-wise. It's only about 200 gold, a little bit less than that even. And so Variety, even if we do see the big SB make that rotation onto the left-hand side, if Variety follows him, it could be an even fight in Variety's new team's favor.
Well, the Clown Fiesta continues continues in this game for me because it's a non-stop kill action. 16 kills in 10 minutes tells you a lot about the pace of this one. Left-hand Harpies will go the way of VNT here, unless we're going to see Hoek look for another crazy play because he died last time he tried that one.
Yeah, but he doesn't have any vision on this left-hand side. It is going to be controlled by VNT, but no Gold Fury pull quite yet. Mike the Magikarp over here taking a decent amount of damage from Arkill. Trixtank coming around the back, trying to protect the ward, but it is going to be Boss getting that vision to control on the Gold Fury.
And the vision very, very important. Once again, pressure onto Zeros in the mid lane here. He needs support, and he will fall down in time. The ultimate just a little bit too late from Trixtank as the pull whiffed and went straight through the uprights.
But again, it's Death Panther just on the point with that through space and time, able to delete Zeros despite not finding a home with Unstable Vortex.
Here's a chance for the Gold Fury now, but the damage from Arkill was very good there, and they actually might be able to pick him up. They will. Erlang Shen falls down. Gold Fury falls as well for the side of the Dutch Myrmidons.
And now Mike Magikarp, he may fall 2 for 0. But as long as you get the Gold Fury, you're in a good spot. Wisps are able to pick him up. Trixtank, confident in that damage. 2 for 0 in favor of VNT, but they lose the Gold Fury.
Even then?
Keeps the lead. Yeah, about even.
About even for now, but look at this. They're trying to pin bars on the left-hand side because Variety's right around the back here. And now the roll is down. It's going to force the ultimate. It will buy him a few seconds now to just wait for reinforcements that are going to try and get here. And I think that's why VNT might just sit back a little bit and take the win.
Variety actually proxies the wave from Arkill, so now he's not going to be able to get that experience. He's waiting to push this wave underneath the tower, but with the rotation from Hoek, it's going to be difficult for him to get any sort of significant tower poke.
I'm not sure if Death Panther recognizes Variety's here. He will now as the Bat comes in looking for the steal of this overall, and the Bat will steal away the buff and walk away happy with the invade that worked out for him. He stole farm on the left-hand side and got a buff.
And the big SB didn't really get anything on the right-hand side because he had just respawned and was walking back to lane, so Variety makes the most out of the time that his lane opponent is dead, finds a couple, forces out an ultimate, and gets the spook off invade.
Round side, good ultimate, good double tap, good knock up to follow it up too, and there's nowhere really for him to go. He will get the ultimate off there, the big SB, but it's not going to be enough to keep him alive. Death Panther's ultimate was on the rotation for his team to come through, just a little bit too late.
And that's such a bad spot as a solo laner to get a Gold Fury, but you die for it. Okay, I can just get up and farm. But then you die as soon as you get back to lane. He literally got 1 lane of experience.
Now this is the problem that we may see coming out from Dutch Myrmidons because it looks like they're falling for the same plan every single game. They lose a kill and they try and fight back and get a kill in response. Where Hoek dived the tower there, that was very risky for no real reason.
No, not a whole lot of reason. I mean, Trixtank didn't have his ultimate, neither did Cuvo Fred, but Variety still had his, though he was low on mana. But again, they just leave this tower available. I mean, I guess that they would have needed all 3 there to defend. That is true. But again, that is just such an unfortunate situation for the big SB because that lead that he had worked so hard to get is basically all but gone. He's now down in gold.
Yeah, I think the big key here is with Dutch Myrmidons is the excitability of this team. I think they get overexcited when they're in the lead a little bit and think that they can have to make plays all the time. And because of those things happening, it ends up allowing VNT back into it all the time.
I agree with you. I mean, just look at the graphs. You see that Gold Fury goes the way of Dutch Myrmidons, but ever since it's been VNT fighting back into this very, very strong.
Arkill looking to pressure a little bit more onto Bass here, forcing him to roll away and just continue to farm in support there. You can see Cuvo Freddy's come over, but there's a ward that's keeping all that in check for the time being. Bars is going to be very careful on this left-hand side for now.
And keep in mind that Variety's new team, their composition this time around is much better in the later stages of the game. It's sieging towers. Kronos is the opposite end of the spectrum from Freya. Freya is one of the worst tower pushers, but Kronos is one of the best, and you're going to be able to see VNT really take advantage of that if they're able to keep even or keep a lead into the later stages.
Well, with the pressure onto Bars now, you can see that the Dutch Myrmidons have headed over to the left-hand side too. Bars forced to ultimate, his purification's down. Remember, he's trying to hold this because Cuvo's still in the sky.
Cuvo is going to eat that 3rd shot right away. Nice purification right off the bat, but it's not going to be enough. Is Big SB going to be able to chase him down? Now Arkill on the wrong side of the map, running from the rest of Dutch Myrmidons.
Sanctuary was buying some time, and the ultimate for zone duty once again from Zero's used well. Going to fall towards the mid lane for the time being, but still, Dutch Myrmidons giving chase.
Arkill just still caught out, and now the rest of the team is here. Trixtank not able to find a knock up there with Wrath of Terror. The portal keeping Arkill in danger for now. Variety in the middle of everybody, just trying to make sure his hunter gets out safe.
And the big thing here is what you're seeing from Variety's new team there. They couldn't make a decision to try to save each other, getting even more poke onto them. But as he went around the corner there, that chain lightning did a lot of work, and he's allowing Variety to go back in, but no ultimate this time to escape. He's going to be very careful.
Very careful, but he is very tanky already. Has that Mark of the Vanguard as well as the Breastplate of Valor, working on what looks to be a Genji's next. Not a lot of HP in that build, none whatsoever outside of the Mark of the Vanguard, but a ton ton of protection.
But still, Dutch Myrmidons answer back again. We saw them like start to even things up, but those two picks on the left-hand side, very important to them there. If it wasn't for the rotation from Mike the Magikarp and Death Panther, I think we could have seen Bars take a tumble.
And I agree with you. I mean, look at how many wards the Dutch Myrmidons have on the left-hand side, and that's what really came up big there. Cubo goes into Sky without knowing that there are two people who could melee him. I mean, who are right next to him, literally, and so the whole engagement goes wrong from there.
Talk about going up to the sky. He's up in the sky right now on the right-hand side, looking towards the Erlang Shen, who immediately ults in response and uses the turtle to live to fight another day.
Win there for the big SB. Not able to quite get the tower, but that ultimate from Erlang Shen, not nearly as impactful as the global rotation capability from Anvil of Dawn.
And talk about Giannis with the global rotation as well. Currently, Death Panther sat 1-0-8 in this game. He's got pretty much most of the core build online right now. I'm wondering where he's going with that next item right now, Aggro.
Could be a Divine Ruin to try and make sure that they're shutting down the healing from Trix Tank. Variety as well has that healing, and he needs it on this right-hand side. Oh, just able to get up into the sky, but Mike the Magikarp is in hot pursuit.
And he's looking to dunk down. Will find the dunk and clean up the kill as well. Variety just bit off a little bit too much there against 3 members. Yeah, you are Kamazots. Yeah, you've got a lot of sustain, but you don't have much crowd control is always the issue.
No crowd control whatsoever. Just a slow is all you've got, and that's on one of your abilities, and the hardest one to hit, that second one. So Variety just trying to play like he's super far ahead, and he's really not. It has been Zashu continuing to push the pace on this.
Fantastic wall from Cubo Fred there, but he's still going to get flopped on that. Berserker barrages down. The pin is going to stop thanks to the cripple, a jump into his hammer, and now Mike gets another kill. This is getting a little bit out of hand now. VNT need to start to slow this down a little bit.
Trix Tank trying to make sure that the big SB can't back. Death Panther throws out a portal for him, but he's knocked up, pulled away. Trix Tank tries to keep him from the portal, and he's able to do so. It actually expires.
But at the same time, he is a warrior attack versus a guardian. I don't think he's going to find a kill on that side. Meanwhile, Variety came back into the fight. Lost half his health, so he's going to have to sustain back up. Zeros wants to give chase.
But it's not going to be enough. Those skills take a little bit of time to travel, and that's exactly what you can see there. Death Panther, I love the idea to give him that portal.
Yeah.
And Trix Tank, the only reason that the big SB lives there is because as he goes into the tower, the rest of the team that was there was Mike the Magikarp and Hoek. They actually push the minion wave underneath that tier 2 to make sure that that will be tanking it up. And very heads-up decision from Erlang Shen to not attack Trix Tank as he's hitting him, because that would have pulled the tower aggro. So even the fact that he's able to pull away from that portal, it doesn't matter, able to escape through the tower anyway.
This set alone for me is going to spell a lot of people watching this a little bit closer now and being a bit more respectful to other teams, because from my viewpoint, I think a lot of the North American teams that are going to be having roster changes and maybe going through the open bracket, and a lot of Europeans too will look back at this set and go, hold up a second, we're probably going to play at a decent to high standard here and respect our opposition, because the challenger scene is not that far behind at all.
No, but like you mentioned, there are a lot of veterans on this Dutch Myrmidons roster that have been there and done that. I mean, Mike the Magikarp, a.k.a. Get Fisher, not had the success that most have at the SPL level, but still has been there. And then you've got the big SB Zashu, who has looked like he had a very bright future ahead of him, and then took that competitive ban that really removed him from Cringe Crew.
Golf Fury already below half health here. Arkel looking to steal this one away for the best if he can get it away there. I mean, the Golf Fury's got to go the way of the Dutch Myrmidons there. Immediate rewind from Arkel and a sprint pop too, looking to fully disengage.
Double dunk there from Cubo Fred directly into Lightning Storm. Big SB, is he going to be able to survive here? Yes, the turtle shield as well as the damage mitigation from that ultimate keeps him alive for now. Cubo Fred doesn't want to let him go. He teleports in, uses the purification to clean him up. And that's they needed that kill badly.
Grand scheme of things, though, it was one kill for a Golf Fury. Meanwhile, mid lane is being stopped by Hoek there as Variety was trying to split push that. They're going to answer back, however, VNT with this tier 1 tower on the left-hand side for the time being. 19 minutes in, and we're also approaching that time. I keep saying it because VNT keep coming back in around the midpoint of the game every time.
Every single time, but they have to be worried because there are still 3 ultimates available, and they're all here underneath this tier 2 tower. Variety has come in, starting to rotate over to this left-hand side, but he's low on mana as well.
Yeah, wall going to go off, but here's an order from Mike the Magikarp. This will force VNT back for a moment. He doesn't really want to engage off this. He's just trying to slow down the advance, wait for the respawn of the big SB.
But whenever Erlang Shen does respawn, he won't have that teleport, so they won't be able to impact this fight too quickly. Variety caught out a little bit, trying to do those boars. Going to take a big lifesteal though, and now Hoek, he's in a ton of trouble. Yeah, nowhere for him to go.
Full collapse on the support, full pickup. Space and time hits 3, but I don't think there's any real follow-up available unless unless they go for this with the threshold, Big SB on his way from the backside too. They want to push out the Dutch, so they want to push out VNT from falling back all the way.
Yeah, this is a smart call from Dutch Myrmidons to back up and give that up. And now this actually opens up the tier 2 tower in middle. Teleport coming in from Variety. Zero's here as well. Use that Lightning Storm to get everyone off that tower. Very similar to the way that we just saw Mike the Magikarp use that Ratatosker ultimate.
Real wise decision from both two teams there overall. There, Hoek bit off a bit more than he could chew there. He probably needs to fall back towards his team a little bit more. He'd used most of his CC chain to try and support and engage for his team. But once that's down, you are just a sitting duckers backers sometimes. You got to be respectful of that.
And we've seen him. We saw him do that on the Khepri game 2 as well. He seems to be a little bit
gung-ho.
Yeah, gung-ho is a good word for it.
It is gung-ho, and that's what you need from a support most of the time. But a taught in mid lane, knock up as well. Pin is not going to keep Trixtank in place, but there's the shell. In the sky goes Mike the Magikarp hitting 2, and now Trixtank going to ult back in response, and it's Mike in trouble instead. But in the sky is Bars, and he'll clean up 1. Talking about Bars in the sky, you've also got Kivo, who's looking to the backside, not going to find what he was after.
Arkill going to be able to find the big damage on the Death Panther. Meanwhile, Kivo Fred is going to fall to Baz. Death Panther actually took the exit right. He's going to survive just fine. No sustain this time for Dutch Myrmidons, but it doesn't matter. Tier 1 tower going to fall.
Hoek wisely just going to tank that one open. Now Space and Time fires off from a weird angle there, but it's just before the rewind comes through. The team of Dutch Myrmidons march on towards a tier 2 now.
And now Zero just has to back up. No support coming. It's only these two alive. Trixtank's going to come up in the next 3 seconds, but it doesn't matter. He's just a tree. No way for him to get there. Tier 2 tower falls as well, and Dutch Myrmidons take a commanding lead in this game.
Yo, that's a big win for the Dutch Myrmidons right now. We talked about experience at stages of the game, and right now that's a really good spike. 7,000 experience, just under 6k gold as well. That is a substantial lead, even if you are against a potential super team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lead is a lead against any team whatsoever. 7.5k experience, 6k gold. Trixtank understands that the rest of Dutch Myrmidons are pretty low, trying to make a play, and yeah, he got it.
He stole that away. Trixtank just walks into the enemy jungle, gets 3 or a half health, and going, you know what, I'm going to try for a cheeky steal, and he takes the buff as well.
And you can just see his giggling face, you know.
Yeah,
he's
just a cheeky grin as usual, the whole time.
Always.
But to be fair, he's probably stepping it up now. He's probably not a cheeky smile on his face right now. He's probably angry with how this game has gone. This set was not as clean as it would like, and they're up against it right now, trying to answer back with this tier 1 tower in the mid lane, and that will buy a little bit of that gold back in their favor.
And they need it badly right now. Death Panther is here. Yeah, nice pin there from the Big SB. Variety forced to jump away, but the two-man knock-up, tons of damage coming through.
But they're still alive for the time being, but Bars is in the sky again, looking towards Variety, gets 1 on the backside of that fight. The Magikarp came back, and Death Panther is doing a good job to stay alive against Arkill for now, as Arkill forced to rewind, but Arkill is surrounded, got all his cooldowns back, however.
He's got a lot of damage available to him. Sanctuary just to buy himself some time against the Unstable Vortex. Baz going in. My man is full health, and he's not scared.
And they're still pushing on. Dutch Myrmidons here, looking for an opportunity. Tier 1 town on the left could be that window right now, especially with the Gold Fury about to spawn too.
And no one has been on Baz this entire game. He only has 1 death. He's been able to free cast basically in the back line. There's been no pressure from Variety whatsoever because he's been getting blown up at the beginning of every single fight. And again, it's Zashu, the Big SB, on this Erlong Shen, making the initiation happen for Dutch Myrmidons.
I guess I'm just looking back to the beginning of this game and the Clown Fiesta we saw of the 5-on-5 fight. I actually thought we would see Arkill get a lead in the duo lane, but Bar's decision to go mid with Death Panther there at the start of that game actually benefited both of their carries more so than what happened with VNTs in the grand scheme of things.
And Zero just hasn't been able to put out the damage that you really expect from a Zeus in the middle. And now Mac the Magikarp, he's caught out. This is not a good look. That is the worst thing that you can do when your team has a lead. There's objectives on the map to take. This is your opportunity to push the lead, and then you're just in the wrong spot. That is a really bad time to get picked from Mike the Magikarp.
Now his ultimate was available there too, but it looked like he used his Sanctuary and his Purification instead of trying to just ult out of there. He thought he could get away, but instead VNT fully commit. Now they're committing to the goal for you for a second, but they're being very respectful of the deficit they're currently at, even in a 4v5.
And you can see some defensive relics still down. The Blink is down for Trixtank. That's the initiation, as well as a Sanctuary for Arkill. No rewind available for him yet either.
Here comes Hoek, has his flop potentially available to go in here. Space and Time fight off. Gold Fury still forced to reset as the Zeus ult comes through as well. Not really finding a home, more for zone duty, and they're focusing on zeros right now. But the support from Trickstack and Variety's there, and Variety's looking for extra pressure.
Death Panther is just doing so much in these team fights right now. He's still completely full. The rest of Myrmidons have to just try and chase him down. Cubo was caught lazy backing there by Bars. No way for him to escape, I don't think. Oh, the stun immediately. He's still going to fall here to the Big SB, but he may be able to trade out because of that way to save time.
Big SB will stand tall. Left-hand side, Hoek was wrapping around the back of VNT. They're trying to put some more pressure on. They're looking at a tier 2, a little bit risky here. Got to force to bat out of hell. The turtle comes in. Big ultimate from Mike. The Magikarp coming back into this fight, however, that's causing issues for VNT right now.
It's going to be Hoek falling underneath the tower. Mike, the Magikarp getting very low. He's not going to fall, though. Able to escape that last tower shot. Arkill forced to rewind. Death Panther has to take the exit into the jungle, still has a sanctuary available. But it was all Death Panther, that fight. I mean, the through space of time comes through, clips Cubo Fred for over half his HP, and then as they're chasing around those top left harpies, you see him throw out that unstable vortex, that then chugs Arkill for about half his HP. You can see top of the player damage charts right now. Death Panther has looked absolutely phenomenal. It's been him and the Big SB, Zashu, making plays for Dutch Myrmidons.
Now, Death Panther goes all the way back to Season 1. In the Challenger Cups, he's been around the scene a long time. I've seen him in support, and I've seen him in solo lane before. Now in this mid position, he's looking pretty solid here. His experience, his tenure in the Challenger scene is actually showing through, where he's actually able to start competing at this level. He understands how important and how much small mistakes can impact things.
When you've been really on the cusp for that long, eventually you just need a performance where you put your foot down.
Sometimes you make a mistake like that and then get hit by an ult, but he avoids a lot of the damage from that, but he can't avoid the clinging up. Cast a curse, boys and girls.
Yeah, there
Cast
it is.
a curse.
That's how it is every single time. But that was actually Variety just making sure the Big SB couldn't back, chasing him out because he understood how little mana he had. Variety with a nice juke. He's not going that way.
Meanwhile, VNT doing the Gold Fury down to half health now. Hoek doesn't have his belly flop available for a little while. Giannis still dead for a few more seconds. Gold Fury attempts steal from Bars. Won't be good enough as the Gold Fury goes the way of VNT.
But again, it's the worst time to get picked, and then you get picked off in the jungle, in your lane. It doesn't matter. The first time it was Mike the Magikarp. It was because of Death Panther that Dutch Myrmidons are able to kind of survive that storm, the 5v4 advantage that VNT had. But that time, it was him who got picked off. Just really unfortunate timing, and that's where you see the experienced teams picking on the less experienced players. They know that you can't get picked in these situations, and they'll position accordingly, and we just haven't seen that from the Dutch Myrmidons.
Well, you saw how long Death Panther has stayed dead for after we were talking about him and the Gold Fury going on, and he's still dead right now. Respawns are starting to hit that mark now, especially as more and more people have hit that level 20. The Fire Giant is where attention is going to start to turn towards.
Yeah, you can see a lot of items being completed, a lot of power spikes on both sides of the coin. Rod of Tahuti completed for Death Panther. After that back, he's almost got all 6 items done.
And Variety still looking to pressure the Big SB there. Right inside, Death Panther comes through a portal, looking to pressure Arkill. Walks around the hair as well, but Big SB stands tall, knowing he's got support in the jungle here.
And that's the way I like to see these solo laners play, is baiting the other team into them. You know you have enough to make sure you stay alive. It's all protections right now for Erlong Shen. And now it looks like he's going to go into one offensive item. I expect it's probably going to be a stone cutting sword, potentially stealing away protections and giving them to yourself. I would like that pickup.
Here goes Kivo to the sky. Trick's already below half health here. Trick's in a lot of trouble, but Kivo's going to cause a couple of issues from space and time. Came through as well as Mike the Magikarp picks up Trick's tank, and the boys of the Dutch Myrmidons trying to march on here, but the bat out of hell is causing some problems.
Cubo Fred gonna fall though. Big SB finds zeros. Mike the Magikarp gonna stay alive as well.
They're gonna lose.
Another flop there from Hoek. Variety gonna eat a chunk of damage from that through space, or excuse me, that unstable vortex. But all the while, it's Boss and the rest of the Dutch Myrmidons knocking down this tier 2 tower.
Not gonna lie here, boys and girls, because I know they're all still friends, but Azalea, Lobster, and Funballer will have cheeky little grins on their faces right now looking at this roster, as well as those boys of Obey will have a little bit of a smirk to themselves right now, especially if the Dutch Myrmidons continue this. But I tell you what, they've got to be careful, because you might have a smirk on your face, but the Dutch Myrmidons have deserved this so far.
They've looked absolutely great, because especially Death Panther. Now Arkill taking a lot of damage, all 3 snipes, fighting a home from Boss, who's also looked phenomenal in this game, not able to find quite enough damage, but it's just keeping them off this Fire Giant.
And now with this, the Fire Giant slowly whittled down to below half health. No real engage for the side of VNT to get in here. They've just got to manually walk in unless you use Bat Out of Hell, but the Fire Giant's already dead. Dutch Myrmidons escalate their lead.
Wow, 8K, right around 8K gold, a little bit under 7.5. 5 members with Fire Giant. We've reached the late game stages, and the late game potential for this team is incredibly strong. We've seen how much the Big SB has been able to translate that early game lead into middle and late game engagements and into healing for his backline as well. He can do it all on this Erlong Shen, and then it's been, for me, it's been Death Panther and Boz, the 2 damage dealers, have both looked so clean this game. Death Panther in particular, I know I've said his name a million times, but in my mind, it's absolutely deserved.
And his decision making as well in terms of build has been very, very fortuitous for the team as well.
Yes.
The Divine Ruin will come into play with anti-heal for variety, not just that of the Sylvanas as well. Those Wisps will give protections, but they won't give as much healing. And now he's nearly finished that Soul Reaver, so approaching full build right now. He's a very big impact.
And we saw us through space and times. They're already hitting for a ton. I think he hit Cuvo or someone in that fight for around 900 damage from a distance. So you've got to be wary of that long-range strike.
And as a mid laner as well, you've got to have a Giannis in your god pool, and to be fair to VNT, they've got to respect that mid laners at this level should have Giannis in their god pool, and Giannis in competitive play, different beast than casual.
Without a doubt, he's a different animal, exactly. Just he's so much available to him in that kit, able to do so much for your squad.
So now they're just hanging around here because they're a little bit worried about trying to initiate onto VNT under the tower. They've got to clear out of minion waves, wait for minions to push in mid as well, but if they can force somebody slightly out of position, they've got plenty of engage with the pin and the belly flop available to them.
In this, they missed an opportunity because both Cuvo and Zeros had neither relics available. That could have really been an excellent engage, but it's actually Trick's tank.
Gonna ult, force the purification from Panther immediately. Arc on the backside being engaged on by the big SP. Space and time, that time wasn't great. As Boz is gonna get some snipe shots off, not really finding a home either. Cuvo still thinking about coming down from the sky at the moment on an opportunity, and he's gonna find that onto one, but Boz comes up big.
Where did he go? Cuvo gets erased by Boz. Now Mike the Magikarp able to pick up Trick's tank as well. Both the former teammates fall immediately. Left Phoenix gonna fall to the hand of Boz and the rest of the squad.
They will get that one. Very good way from Dutch Myrmidons to realize they needed to fall back. They lost the engagement overall there, but the turnaround was good. Arkel, however, trying to make it work for himself. Gonna chase down Boz. The team have left him alone. Now he's gonna have to box his way out of this one. And they 1-for-1 trade. That works out actually pretty well overall for VNT because they could keep their middle Phoenix up unless Variety falls here.
Variety falling very low, but the belly flop off the mark. Hoak, they need to kill the Phoenix to keep him alive. They do so. Death Panther just is still throwing out those unstable vortexes, doing so much damage. Arkill saves the game there by killing Boss. They absolutely needed to take down that late game ROM, only his second death of the game.
Same time though, full respect to Dutch Myrmidons on the engagement, because as soon as they get that middle Phoenix, they back up. They could have attempted an in there, but that was a potential throw that they avoided the opportunity of. They still playing level-headed, which is very important.
Absolutely. They're looking like a very clean team right now overall, and that fight looked like it was going to go horribly for them off the bat.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the big SB, you see the through space and time be throwing right on top of him, but it's the wrong target to try and kill with that. It doesn't find a home, and that's been the big difference maker as far as damage goes, has been those through space and times, but even with that missing, Cuvo Fred comes crashing down and then just gets exploded by Rom. I mean, just the late game damage potential.
It wasn't just Rom though, was it? I guess it was a few other people involved in that.
I think it was the big crit though from Boz coming through that really
well,
is
now they're
able
trying to pressure the jungle
danger.
here. As you can see, VNT trying to get a bit of farm on the right-hand side here, get Cuvo up to that level 20. 32 minutes in and you don't have a level 20 jungler. You got a few issues, and that jungler's still got issues now. He takes away a lot of damage though as he gets to the sky, but Trick's tank's initiation was for naught, and now they can turn on that.
The Lightning Storm comes down. There's a through space time to do some damage, but not quite enough. Variety doing a nice job of keeping Death Panther at bay.
But the big issue there for them is Bars wasn't actually with them. Rama was still in the jungle around the Fire Giant there. And if Dutch Myrmidons would have recognized that, they should have probably tried to hold off a little bit on the commitment that they invested into that, as quite a few of their ultimates, if not actually all their ultimates, were for that one engagement.
Yeah, 4 ults used, but with the Fire Giant coming up in the next 45 seconds, they're going to need to make sure those are ready to go, because that's going to be the next big fight. You're going to see VNT push down the left side, push down the middle Phoenix, and then potentially try and contest this Fire Giant.
And right now, this game is VNT have to deicide twice here right now, just because of how many towers are still on the map for Dutch Myrmidons.
If they get a clean wipe with late game Kronos and late game Zeus, they could probably
with 2 towers still standing, you reckon?
Probably, yeah.
I wasn't just because I was like,
just because of the Kronos tower damage, because especially with the Polynomicon proc, you can use that. You press your 2 and then you get a huge burst of damage. You're hitting that tower for like 400 on the first auto. You could probably knock that down cleanly, but you need a clean deicide. It needs to be 5 for 0. Yeah,
it's gonna be quick as well. It can't be a staggered deicide because people will respawn through afterwards. So we'll see how this works out. now, because Fire Giant started up right now for Dutch Myrmidons once more. They definitely need a new name, because we've always been called Myrmidons all season, that's for sure, because they've earned themselves their own title right now. They don't have to rip off somebody else's with how they've been playing. They deserve this opportunity to look for the third Phoenix after a free Fire Giant.
Without a doubt, Variety just getting zoned away by Hoek by himself all the way up by that Phoenix. You see Arkil still dealing with these fire creeps on the left-hand side. Mike the Magikarp making sure that he has vision control. If he wants to go up into the tree, he wants to do so from the jungle and try and make it a surprise attack.
And here's the difference between what we saw game 1, where VNT made a mistake at this right on Phoenix, and the difference in Dutch Myrmidons. They're pushing their waves in first of all, poking from range, using the FG to regen. Sit back a little bit, let these minions help you do the work, and force a situation that VNT do not want to be in.
And now the Blink Initiation finds 3 there from Trix Tank. Mike the Magikarp up in the sky. Frenzy popped the multi-man knockup though from Mike the Magikarp.
Snipes for Cuvo Fred, and not going to find a home to kill him in time, but Variety still surrounding. Variety gets bursted down. Flop onto 2, rewind immediate from Arkil, but Trix is now out of the scene. Cuvo took to the sky, got a good dunk, but instead he gets juggled around, and now he's trying to run for his life. The Sanctuary will not keep him alive long enough to get away, but bars will fall to the detonate, and it's actually going to be the VNT hold thanks to the help of Zeros.
The big SB just trying to keep that pressure on, trying to get these Phoenixes down. He's still here. Yeah, left's gonna probably fall to these fire minions. Mike the Magikarp coming around the backside. Zero's gonna fall.
1 for 1, however, overall, so it's only Mike left, and Arkil might fancy himself a bit of this. Instead, he's gonna focus on the minions and defending the Titan, because Mike wants to do the same thing, bring the Phoenixes down. Middle one just spawned, right one at half health.
This is you're juggling a lot of balls in the air right now if you're a VNT. You're trying to make sure your middle Phoenix is up while still defending the right-hand Phoenix. At the end of the day, 4 fall on each side, but that Titan still under pressure.
Pretty sure that middle wave is about to be a fire minion wave that's coming in here, so Arkil has to defend that. Mike is not going to contest, however, which I'm a bit surprised about. You could have tried to poke out Arkil a little bit, allow it to get to the Phoenix at least, but I don't think we could have got it anyway.
Maybe, but it's
risky.
A late game Chronos. Yeah, you're a 36-minute Chronos. He's going to be doing a ton of damage, and that's the way that Mike the Magikarp really has to play these team fights, is coming to crashing down and then darting out the backside and then coming back in, trying to find a stun, then getting out on the backside again. Well, that's really the way you have to play it.
Let's take a little look at the player damage here and see how people have been doing so far this game in terms of damage done. Panther at the top, we saw his performance has been solid enough, but the next 2 on the list here are from Variety's new team. We've got Zeros and we got Arkil.
Not too surprising. The big one for me is Cuvo Fred, all the way at the bottom there, really having a really tough game on this Thor, just never had the pressure that he really wanted.
Flop from Hoek on his own there, looking to really just steal away creeps more than anything else, I feel, in the jungle, and put some pressure on. The flop could have hit, it could have caused some problems for them, but instead, VNT fall back, looking to defend the middle Phoenix.
And you can see only Mike the Magikarp still has that Fire Giant. Got it for another minute or so, minute and 10 seconds. Death Panther just doing what he's been doing, just trying to throw out those unstable vortexes, poking down Variety.
The problem is, though, is Variety is on Kamazots, and the sustain is real on that guard. Not tie that into the fact that he's also got a Sylvanas. It's going to be a bit difficult, even with Divine Ruin, to make sure that you could 100 to 0 him, unless you get a big hole through space and time.
Hoek looking to find a stun, not going to be able to find it, but the 3-man blink engage. Death Panther, he's already dead!
And Bars is dead too, followed it up. Zeros claims himself another one. Now they look for Hoek, and still the big SB trying to keep them busy, but they group up together, and Hoek's going to fall down soon. Mike the Magikarp, however, is looking for the Phoenix. Mike gets the Phoenix to the back there as they were busy fighting. Dutch Myrmidons are just trying to buy themselves time. That's what Mike's doing here. Try and buy time. They have to wait for respawns now. Getting that middle Phoenix was important, and then living is even more important right now.
Just trying to relieve the pressure as VNT, but Mike the Magikarp, yeah, we're going to be here a little bit. You can absolutely tell with the way this game is going back and forth, but that's all Trix Tank. I mean, Trix Tank and Zeros working together beautifully there. Zeros ends up falling in the backside to the Ratatosker, but it doesn't matter. They're able to just do so much damage. Boz and Death Panther, there's no reason for Death Panther to be there. In that scenario, you have to play like an assassin as Giannis. You need to sit in the jungle and use your 3 space of time to get in after the initiation has already been
I'm pretty sure relics were all up for the 2 of them and both fell down there, the Giannis and the Raw, but they got hit by the knockup before they could do anything. I'm not sure if they were up, but if they weren't up, why were they trying to siege there anyway?
Yeah, exactly. You have to be patient and wait for it. Now the big SB trying to defend that middle tier 2, but he's buying time, exactly.
But Mike the Magikarp comes in looking to turn that one around, and instead he's going to be the casualty of war here. The mistake was was really made here. The Wisps will end up killing him thanks to Arkill actually overall. Fire Giant has respawn. Space and Time got fired off, but it's not going to hit home. However, it has bought another window, especially with Phoenix's being down the left and the right for VNT.
Just so tense, back and forth. Ooh. Another, the big SB just trying to defend that middle tower a little too hard, and then he baits his teammate in to try and save his life. The Mantle of Discord proc almost saved his life.
I'm rooting for Dutch Myrmidons here because it would really hurt them if they lose this game. Now, with how this game's gone, to lose this would be really disheartening for them overall. Obviously, they can come back and win, win next week or something, but I think they'd be really upset with themselves if they threw this lead.
Yeah, they've played fantastically, and they deserve a lot of all the confidence they're going to get.
Carries grouping together in the late game is the biggest issue that teams have overall. And people like Trixtank, who've been around the scene as a support player, when you're an initiating support like Sylvanas with Blink, he's looking for you two just to get a little bit too close, and he's coming in.
It doesn't matter if there's anyone else around you or anything like that. Even if he only hits the 2 carries, that's enough. It's just the dot damage alone is enough to poke you out. Plus, if you don't use that Sanctuary or Purification before you get knocked up, you're instantly dead.
Well, the dance of the Fire Giant has begun for the time being between the two teams. Very important. Variety still on the left, has teleport available, pushing out minions. Obviously, there's no fire minions left on that left-hand side as the Phoenixes just respawned.
Variety actually used the teleport preemptively there to get into the fight very, very early on there. So you can see Dutch Myrmidon's going to look again at this Fire Giant.
Big SB took some free poke for nothing. Arco looking to hit the gas pedal a little bit harder, but flops on in place. And there's an ultimate coming down from Mike the Magikarp too, but they don't manage to pick up Arkill, who rewinds in place. Space and Time hits zeros, though, but Cuba Fred has already taken out one carry and Rama. Variety's keeping Death Panther pinned out the fight at the same time. Zero's getting very low on the backside, and they will pick up Zeros 1 for 1 so far.
But he did enough damage. That's all that matters now. Mike the Magikarp got the wall, but the wall there from Cubo is perfect. Mike tries to dash into everyone, not going to help him out. It's actually the big ass beast stunned out by that time stop. Arkill somehow avoids the unstable vortex.
Poet goes back in to buy time and slow down VNT, but VNT have to fall back. There is fire minions pouring into the base. Look, check the left-hand side. That is a fire minion wave, I'm sure, for how well it's pushed down that left, and that's why Variety's had to go back to defend and keep that left-hand Phoenix alive. VNT win another little skirmish there, but they don't get anything out of it other than keeping their Phoenixes standing.
And Boz falls there before using the Sanctuary, before using the ultimate, and it's so difficult because when you've done so well up to this point, you have to know that that target is on your back. You can see the difference in style there from Death Panther. He uses through space and time, hits zeros for almost his entire health bar, and then is just skirting around the outside of the fight. Sure, he didn't do the big damage that they needed, but he stayed alive. And Boz needs to use that ultimate from Rom to get up in the air early on. Even if it's not to find the late game snipes, you have to use it as a time buyer at this stage in the game.
I would like to maybe see Erlang Shen here, the big SB, going over to the left-hand side and looking to split push a little bit. He's got teleport available. He can keep someone pinned back on this left-hand side of the Phoenix. Surprised he didn't do that around the last Fire Giant a minute ago when Variety was over there.
Yeah, that's true, but Variety, they got the teleport so early on. I feel like that was the right call to try and get that engagement going, but overall, you're right. With the Variety teleport still being down for a little over a minute, that would be a heads-up play from the big SB to continue to put pressure.
Zeus is going to pick up the red buff for himself. Obviously, to a mage in the mid lane at the late game scenario, the red buff is worth more to him than a Fire Giant ever will be.
Yes, I've given up numerous Fire Giants in my days just to make sure I'm getting my red buff.
It's the same way junglers are about the speed buff when you're losing a Gold Fury. It's the same sort of scenario. Late game mages love that red buff. It gives them just so much more of a boost in damage, more than a Fire Giant would. Even though they don't get sustain, regeneration, it's still very important for them.
And that's the thing, for Zeros falls in that fight, mostly due to the through space and time that chunks him, but overall he did enough. He did enough damage. He did his job. As a mage, your job isn't necessarily to live in team fights, because that's really the hunter's job, is to make sure they're alive for any late game sieging opportunities. Mages are just there to throw up numbers, and that's exactly what Zeros did in that last team fight.
Well, Dutch Myrmidons need to group a little bit better now. They're a little bit scattered on the map with their position. I can understand that for the most part, but VNT are currently on the hunt to try and find a pick if they can. As you saw, Mike the Magikarp there lose about 25% of his health on the left-hand side to Arkill.
Trixtank does have the blink, rather. Every relic is available. I think that's why we saw VNT playing a little bit back. The Purification from Cuvo, Fred, and Zeros both on cooldown. But now that every relic is up, we're going to have to see Trix. He's going to be looking for the Death Panther and Boss group up yet again.
This is so tense between the two teams right now, and the one team that I feel would be more tense here is the Dutch Myrmidons, because they have a real shot here. They've had this game in the bag for all intents and purposes for such a long time, but VNT have slowly but surely kept fighting back into this one, and now find it closer to an even game than you'd expect, because everyone's pretty much max level, and everyone's pretty much full on items.
Trix Tank gonna get stunned out, taking a little bit of damage from that unstable vortex, but it's Mike the Magikarp on the top side, forced into the Sanctuary.
And then goes Cubo Fred. He's going to take to the sky. Mike gets up too. Meanwhile, they're looking straight to the backside, looking for Panther, who gets away from the pole. He's still running for his life right now. Unstable Vortex through the wall to deal some damage and get away again. Into the sky go Buzz.
He's looking for variety, needs to find him, but can't find either of the second two, despite the stun from Hoek there. Just a little bit too rushed from Boz there. And you can see that's where the tense really starts to get to you, is in those high pressure situations.
I don't think they realize though, VNT still have one ultimate available, and it's on their big boy carrying the mid lane. Zeros on that Zeus has ultimate up. They have to just respect the fact that they've got to be careful here. They see backing happening. Arkell will back, and you can see Zero's looking to back here as well. They've got to be careful about this VNT, about these staggered backs, just in case the Dutch Myrmidons realize how many are missing. But look at this around the left.
Around the left-hand side, variety, but they're still chasing Zeros and Trix. On the right-hand side, Trix taking a good amount of his health, but so is the big SB.
And Arkell's back as well. Don't forget the gas pedals available for him. They're looking at variety now. It's a big crit for the time being, but variety's buying time because Cubo is now in the sky. Ult misses. The wall is good, forcing purification out of Bars for now. And Bars is going to get initiated on by variety. Space and time does not hit anybody.
No one to find there. Bars taking a decent amount of damage from variety. Trix blinking in, but no one home, basically.
Clown Fiesta once again from both teams here. They're both looking to make plays, and neither of them finding kills.
Just throwing it at the wall and seeing what sticks. Unfortunately, not a whole lot stuck there for either squad.
Yeah, I mean, most ultimates are currently down now for the Dutch Myrmidons. 3 ultimates available for VNT, and I actually think Dutch Myrmidons might have to give up this fire giant here now. If they try and force this, unless they win the fight, they could actually lose the game.
Just so many ultimates. Death Panther taking too much damage. Arkell able to pick him up. The taunt, the huge Zeus!
It's over. That should be game now. I'm pretty sure VNT might win that big off that one ultimate. Zeros gets a double kill, and now Hoek running for his life, and the backside of this big SB just like, I can't do anything, boys. I gotta run too. Hoek will fall as well, and VNT go end the game. They're gonna end straight down the mid line here, looking to close this one out. Just respawns. Can the big SB hold this?
No, I don't think so, as well as the Emperor's armor coming through from Trix Tank, slowing down that attack speed from the towers. Look at the respawn times. 50 seconds on almost everyone. Heartbreaking.
What a semi-final this has been. VNT will get a lot more out of this than they probably expected coming into it. They probably learned a lot about their team. But I'll tell you what I learned today. The Dutch Myrmidons have a lot of potential if they stay together and keep doing what they did here today. VNT win 2-1, but it shouldn't have been.
Wow, that was
great.